This is the Frat House Sports Show. And now, for this week's completely different and often humorous take on everything sports, here are Frat House Mike, Uncle Mark, and Sidekick.
Well, thank you very, very much for dropping by the house again this week. Gentlemen, different week, same result. We sat around here on Monday and Tuesday looking around, reading every sports page, watching sports television as much as we possibly could, lots and lots of Sports Center, listening to sports radio ad nauseum, and it became terribly evident in the past couple of days that there is absolutely nothing to talk about, nothing compelling.
There's something screwy around here.
What? But you've got three big top stories.
We do, and we're going to get to those in just a moment.
What do you mean?
Although I got to tell you,
it's been a big sports week. I mean, we got three big stories coming.
Well, I got to tell you, I've never really remember quite a week that's been like this blah, dry, dull. But
Holy
fear
nightmare.
not, as Sidekick has alluded.
Well, there was one other week
When was that?
when you got knocked out of the playoffs. Fantasy football.
That didn't happen. Well, that was, yeah, but Listen, here's the
I don't do that!
Fear not. Because what we plan on doing for you here this evening is, we're big stories. We've got them, as Sidekick just said.
Absolutely.
We're going to make it all up for you. All right? We're going to make it up as we go along just for you guys. All right? And so let's get through our big stories. There we go. Okay. Listen, since LeBron James announced his return to the Cleveland Cavaliers from the Miami Heat, there's been a lot of speculation and chatter that the number one pick in the recent NBA draft, Andrew Wiggins, well, he would be traded by the Cavaliers to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Kevin Love. That's been the talk, that's been the chatter because, well, that's what the King wanted. Well, boy, did we get our shoes blown right off of us this afternoon when it was announced that the Cavaliers had in fact traded Andrew Wiggins along with LeBron James to the LA Clippers for pending former owner of the Clippers, Shelly Sterling.
It's awesome how far you've come.
No lie, folks. Wink. During the press conference announcement of this very, very confusing deal. I mean, very confusing when you think about it. Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert was quoted as saying, quote, we found in the past 10 days that our fan base here was not as happy about LeBron's return as we had originally anticipated. The proof was in the fact Johnny Manziel's jersey sales were beating LeBron's 3-1. And we're not about to be beaten by those stinking Browns. Yes, he said that. Just this afternoon. Did you hear it?
I was going to say, stinking and Browns.
Stinking Browns, yeah. He further went on to explain that, quote, it is obvious that Shelly Sterling is a true American hero standing up to her curmudgeon husband. She's been applauded nationwide for bringing down a racist, and simply her stock is much, much higher than that of LeBron's. We think she'll be a real plus just hanging around our team. All right, gentlemen, I open it up. What in the world do we make of any of all of this? I mean, this is, as I pointed out, very, very confusing situation.
I don't know. Looks like Manziel's got his cougar now. Was that part of his contract?
Oh! Any other thoughts?
Killed the whole conversation right there.
Uncle Mark, any ideas? No, okay. We'll just move on to the next one. How about that? This one's right up your alley. The Tour de France has 5 stages remaining in its 21-stage annual cycling race. But the interest and ratings for this have struggled to really get anyone's attention. Well, maybe with the exception of Sidekick. This led Tour de France President Pierre Mensonge to announce for the final 5 stages, PEDs and doping will be allowed. Quote,
what the hell is happening? Who's in charge there?
Quote, we've been disappointed that we haven't gotten anywhere near the attention of the recent World Cup, and we think that by allowing PEDs again, fans will be much more interested in the final outcome, Mensonge said. At the same announcement, it was disclosed that Lance Armstrong would be overseeing the administration of the final 5 stages of the event and would handle public relations. Wow, this one is big. But I gotta make this observation. It seems to me that the president of the Tour de France may have made a faux pas. Ooh, you like that? The faux pas? Yeah, you got that? Okay.
Wow.
When he said, quote unquote, by allowing PEDs again. Now that certainly sounds to me like as if they knew what was going on for all those years before. What do you make of it, Sidekick?
Well, I think it's a good thing for the sport. I mean, there's even talk that they're going to come out with a special jersey just for just for the last 5 stages, the Lance Armstrong jersey, and it's going to have it's going to have needles.
Livestrong?
Yep, sponsored by Livestrong and everything.
There you go. I think it's
a little more money in the
You do you think it'll actually help the ratings and the attention?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, more people will be jumping in on this, you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised if they get some big pharmaceuticals involved.
Yeah, right, exactly. Some of those French ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Sanofi.
Uncle Mark?
Shelley, you must be kidding. Is it true that Lance Armstrong went postal when he heard this was going to happen?
I don't know.
I just heard that.
Oh, no! Yeah, I mean, look, he's got to be one of the happiest guys right now in the world, you would think. I mean, because this is just going to lead to a whole Pete Rose kind of possible conversation where, in fact, they might actually and recognize all of his previous triumphs.
This is a shot in the arm for the sport. Probably a shot in the ass, too.
Oh, no!
Needles ready.
No.
I'm on pins and needles. That's what he said. Yeah.
Hey, just give it a shot. We'll see.
That's it.
I think that's what he was saying. I think that was Lance Armstrong's quote. Let's give it a shot and see what happens.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Let's go over real quick to just one more of our big stories. And look at here, I can't believe this, but NASCAR, for the second time in a month, is actually making our big stories. This time it was to announce that beginning in 2015, NASCAR would run the Daytona 500, the first official race of their season, which generally falls in around the third Sunday of February. They're actually going to run that now on Super Bowl Sunday, 3 weeks earlier in the early part of February. The announcement came via Darrell Waltrip in a Fox Sports article, in which he stated, quote, the Super Bowl isn't played until the evening anyway, so why not literally make it Super Sunday? We could start the Daytona 500 at noon or 1 p.m. and that would lead right into the NFL Super Bowl. I know you are probably sitting there saying, this isn't going to work. No one is going to ever do that. I say, to hell with the 800-pound gorilla known as the National Football League. This is quite a development, in my opinion. I think one that many of us right here at Frat House Sports would, absolutely applaud and endorse. Uncle Mark, yes?
Well, I thought the 800-pound gorilla was Ndamukong Suh. Am I wrong? What did I miss here?
No, he's saying we don't give a damn about him. Let Goodell send him our way. I'll take him on. I'll put him in the wall. That's what I think he was saying.
They'll just let Dan.
I mean, I've come out alive.
Exactly.
But
That's
I'm
what
gone
you do.
in there.
Now take care of Sue right there.
Yeah.
But by the way, he's a boy named Sue. I mean, all you got to do is
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised that I thought, maybe spice things up. We put mines on the track, but I guess Daryl with the.
You want to put lines?
No, mines.
Oh, mines, landmines.
Yeah.
Oh,
You gotta
okay.
dodge them so you don't.
I gotcha. Yeah, well, yeah.
But I guess racing on Super Bowl Sunday.
I think Daryl's planning that for the next time we're in a really slow news week.
Yeah.
That might be Daryl's next announcement. Yeah. Okay. Because, folks, let's get it straight. Rather obviously, all of these stories were completely made up by the creative writers right here at Frat House Sports. And,
Boogity.
they're behind the scenes. The creative
Any of
writers.
this getting through to you, son?
They're not any of the folks that are here on the set. We just deliver the words.
No, we keep them locked away.
Exactly. We don't let you know when you.
Actually, I think one's using the litter box right now.
One's using the litter box. Yes. Okay.
Those are last week's stories.
We thank you for playing along with us. Those were all completely parodied and made up. Hopefully, things are going to get a lot better in the world of sports over the next couple of weeks when we come back at you. Oh,
Hey, NFL training camp started this week.
No, we know Buffalo started on Monday, and the Eagles start up on.
New England started today.
There you go, and the Eagles start on Friday, and so most of them.
Michael Sam can't keep his mouth shut.
Okay, so we know that
And
2 weeks.
Jamal Charles is back with the Chiefs.
Yep.
We heard that.
After
And
the
the
shortest
news was
holdout
announced,
in
and Andy Reid
Yeah.
was
Oh,
so
yeah.
happy he immediately went to above that.
Yeah.
I've been
mean,
seeing
yes, he
since.
did.
He may not make training camp.
Let's
There
go,
was
ham
word
sandwich.
from like Ian Rappaport.
It was a
or one of those guys.
barbecue
you're
buffet
killing me with this.
out there in Missouri.
And baby back ribs.
Yours.
Give me my baby back.
But
Chili.
look, we
Talk
already
about
know.
your 800-pound gorilla in the room.
You can see 800 pounds, and we can see that things are. We already know 2 weeks from now things are going to get a lot better when we come back at you. And I'm saying 2 weeks, and you're going, huh? What? Yeah. No, we will be here next week. That's our third annual NFL preseason roundtable program that we will be bringing to you. That is a program you absolutely, positively cannot miss. It is wonderful every year, and that's next week, and that's all we do for a full hour, just talk NFL preseason football. That's next week. We'll be back in studio the week thereafter. So hopefully by then, obviously, we know that we won't be making any stories up. From this point forward, though, the stories will get real as we're going to move it along a little bit seriously into, yes, a real sport. And that, well, baseball, last time I checked, is a real sport. And in fact, we've got a good friend with us this evening, and that's our good friend Jim Williams. Yes, the same Jim Williams from CLW83.com, CLW83.com, who every week religiously sponsors our Major League Baseball segment, and we thank them for that very, very much. And well, we had a chance to catch up with Jim. It's been quite a while for me. You guys did it way back in April, but we had a chance to catch up with him earlier this evening, and we want to bring that to you right now. Thanks very much, Jim, for being with us. And I know you were on the air with Sidekick way back in April. And that was the very first show in 150 that I was not on. So, but I haven't had the pleasure this year of having you on the air with us. So thanks very much for being with us.
It is an honor to be here, and happy 150th show to you guys.
It is.
It's amazing stuff.
I know, 150. I mean, it truly is a remark. I mean, I never thought it, but we say that every 50 shows. And we'll be saying
pretty much. Going on 3 years now. It's awesome. And it's always glad I've been able to help out in some small way for you guys. You guys are great to me.
Well, and we appreciate it. And I appreciate being on your Touch 'em All program as well over there at CLW83. Let's get into talking. We're past the midway point. We're what? We're a week into, the season again after the All-Star break, which was interminable. I made a point of that last week. It was 4 days last week. I remember it being 3 not that long ago.
Agreed.
But we're back into it again. And so let's take a look at where things stand with about 60 games, I guess, remaining in the entire season. We'll take a look real quick at the American League. And I think that you and I talked about this on your program back at the end of May a little bit. We're talking about the AL East, not dissimilar to the NL East in its kind of schizophrenia. We got the Baltimore Orioles up at the top. Who thought this?
And by 4 games as we record on Wednesday night, no less.
Yeah.
Over the Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. It's still a 3-team race. I'm going to actually widen it out. To me, it's still a 5-team race because the Red Sox, who are in last place, are just 8.5 games back. I say just because they've gone 8-2 in their last 10. They're starting to put it together. And these teams are going to face each other a bunch more times over the final 2 months of the season. They could make a run. We've seen it happen before. The Dodgers last year pulling off 41, 42 wins out of 50 games. Mm-hmm. Nothing is impossible. The division, I think, is still very much up for grabs. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Baltimore's out in front at this point in time. With you, I'll agree with you with that. The Yankees have suffered some injuries. Toronto, same deal. But Baltimore just doing it very quietly under the radar.
When you take a look at it right now, there's not a single team, however, coming out of there for the wild card. Not if it ended right now. They're all coming out of the West. So you'd have to have, for this to be a 5-team race up in the East, you'd have to have some teams really doing some jumping pretty quickly over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely. I think I agree with you. The West is where at least 1, probably 2 wild cards come from. Since you mentioned the American League West, let me segue to that for a second because the biggest surprise, in my humble opinion, in the American League is the immediate success of the Seattle Mariners since Robinson Cano has come over. Mm-hmm. Got some interesting information here for you. Now, of course, he's their big hitter. He leads them in average, hitting something like 320, 330. But you also have Kyle Seager, who's hit 16 home runs and has the team high, 66 RBI, something in that department. But if you look at the rest of the team offensively, statistically, they're in the bottom third in almost every offensive statistical category, which defies logic for being 5-6 games over 500 and 8 games back of Oakland in the division lead at this point in time. So what does it come down to? Pitching and defense. They've got the third highest fielding percentage in all of Major League Baseball. The only other 2 teams that are higher than them, Baltimore, first place team, Cincinnati. We'll talk about them in a moment, I'm sure, as well.
Yep.
They also have the 3rd best team ERA, led by some guy who's a perennial Cy Young Award candidate, some guy who wears a crown on his head named Felix Hernandez, who is flirting with a sub-2 ERA. He's at 2.02 right now. 4 of the 5 in the starting rotation have at least 8 wins. They're very productive. They're getting the job done. Nothing but love for Seattle. They're exceeding all expectations.
Okay. Now, let me just jump back up. I know you moved ahead there to the West, which is good. Let me just jump back up to the AL East for a moment. Tampa Bay right now been on a tear, winning 6 games in a row. I made the comment right over on your Touch 'Em All Facebook page the other day when you, I think asked the question, who's going to end up leading the AL East in the end of the season? I said, for God's sake, this thing's a crapshoot. Every single one of them at one point or another has led that division during the season, including Tampa Bay.
With, I think, the exception of Boston, unless it was very, very early in the season.
I think it might
Tampa Bay, I don't know if they got a voodoo doctor in. I don't know if they put holy water on the field at Tropicana Field. I don't know what Joe Madden has done, but the evil scientist is getting his players... He's getting his team to gel together at the right time. And again, back to my point, it's anybody's division, really, when you get right down to it.
Yep.
As long as you're 8.5 back, 9 back, with 2 months of the season to play, a lot can still happen. Let me tell you, speaking AL East here, talk about a disappointment. Maybe the most disappointing free agent acquisition from last offseason to this season, Brian McCann. What has he done in New York? Well, I'll tell you. He's hitting .241, 10 home runs, 41 runs batted in 90 games. That ain't going to cut into the Bronx. That's not going to cut it in 28 out of 30 Major League teams. Maybe in Houston, maybe in Texas, but not New York.
Well, I was surprised, actually, and you're bringing up Brian McCann. I was reading an article, all about him the other day over on, it might have been Yahoo. I can't believe he's been in the league already 10 years.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. He spent a lot of time there with those Atlanta Braves and was a big part of why they were still a competitive team for the last few years.
Before we jump out of the American League, is it safe to say that, hey, Mike's got to wait another year on the KC Royals?
I don't know. It depends on what happens at the trade deadline. We'll segue to that as well in a few minutes.
Yep.
There's a lot that can still happen. I wouldn't write them off just yet, but the chances of them getting into a wild card spot are looking slimmer by the day.
Texas Rangers, worst team in baseball, at least tied for it.
By record, yes. By my thought process, they're not the worst team in baseball. We'll talk about them before we're done here.
All right, let's go over real quick. Take a look at the National League. And we've been talking about the East, well, obviously, all season long. This thing's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, never with the Phils, except maybe I think in the very first week of the season. But it's going back and forth between Washington and Atlanta. Washington and Atlanta. This week it's Washington. Any doubt that's where it's going to end up?
It's going to be Washington and Atlanta to the very end, going down to the final week of the season. I want to give props to Atlanta. Remember back a couple of months ago, I picked Atlanta to still be the team to beat despite the injuries. And despite the injuries, they're still a very good team. There are a lot of similarities when you get right down to it between the Braves and the Mariners in that the offensive statistics are not there, the fielding is, and the pitching is. They've got the 5th best ERA for a team. They have the 6th most strikeouts for pitchers in baseball. They lead Major League Baseball in saves. Julio Teheran, 9-6, ERA at 2.64, leads the team with 127 punch-outs. Aaron Harank's 9-6, 3.36 ERA, and the bubblegum and duct tape starter they picked up just as the season started, Irvin Santana. Yep. His ERA is up near 4, but he's got 8 wins and 14 out of 14 decisions, I should say. You got to be impressed by that.
Over in the Central Division, we talked about this one a little bit pre-show. 4 out of 5 teams with a winning record, huh?
Yeah.
And yet none of them, except maybe with the exception of your Cardinals, right now, none of them coming out of there with the wild card if the season ended right now.
I think ultimately at least one and maybe both wild cards when all is said and done could come out of the National League Central.
I think one. Absolutely at least one.
One at least and possibly two depending on how much they beat each other up. I mean, 1st and 4th are separated by maybe 4.5 games as we record this on Wednesday night. The Brewers, I thought they were going to fall off the pace and they sort of did for a little bit.
They did a little while, yep.
But they're holding steady. Your Cardinal sidekick are doing some good stuff. Adam Wainwright, arguably the best pitcher in baseball. And Pittsburgh's been coming on strong. Cincinnati's been falling as of late. There's a lot still to be said about the National League Central. Very competitive race.
I noticed you didn't say anything about the Cubs. No Cubs love.
Cubs lose, Cubs lose, Cubs lose.
I find your lack of
418 winning percentage. I think right now, what are they? The second worst team, I think, in Major League Baseball?
As they should be.
Well, yeah. Now, over in the West, that's where we're seeing the other wild card team coming out. And again, a lot like the NL East, where it's going back and forth between San Francisco and the Dodgers. Who's coming out of this in the end?
Yeah, and a lot of people were surprised by San Francisco being as good, and they've been hit by the injury bug too. Matt came to the DL recently in the last week. Tim Lincecum pitching a no-hit, no-run game, and earlier this week, he got a save, becoming one of the few pitchers in baseball history to throw a no-hitter and record a save in the same season. Pretty insane.
It was last night against the Phils, wasn't it?
Don't remind me. I don't know who the Phillies are.
In that 14-inning game, right?
It was a marathon. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Right.
But no, it's going to be back and forth. Both teams are playoff teams. I'd like to think the Dodgers have just enough to get by them, though. The pitching of Clayton Kershaw is insane. Yasiel Puig, when healthy, is arguably the best outfielder in the National League. And they may make 1 or 2 big moves right at the deadline. No names, no saying anything, but we'll see.
But the way that stands right now, you'd have to think if that stays that way, definitely one of them is going to be the wild card. And then it's going to be whoever's coming out of the Central, perhaps maybe the Cardinals or one of the others.
That seems very reasonable. I'll tell you one team it won't be. Everybody thinking that back when we were doing the preview show, I thought Arizona was going to be a second-tier team in the division, no question. But they're more like 3rd, 4th, 5th tier kind of team because they've fallen off the radar. It's interesting how baseball works. You can be the Braves and be besieged by injuries. Tommy John could be your personal friend, for goodness sakes, and yet you still succeed in the National League East. At one point this season, the Diamondbacks had 12 different players on the DL at the same time, and they can't bubblegum and duct tape it together. They are selling at the deadline, and Kirk Gibson's job is in jeopardy.
Interestingly, I thought you were actually going to bring up the Rockies. Again, another team tied for the worst team in the entire Major League Baseball. I didn't see that one coming. I didn't think that would be the case.
Well, hey, don't go getting that owner all fired up.
I know. He'll be sending me letters saying, hey,
Mike,
if you don't like it, don't even bother coming.
Don't bother showing up. We don't need you.
And they don't. Trade deadline is coming up next week on July 31, I believe. Jim, what's the word out there? And I'm going to make this observation to you. It seems to me that with the addition of the wild card, the second wild card now, we're hearing less and less and less about this particular time of year. That is the trade deadline time of year for Major League Baseball, because I think more and more teams are holding on. What's your thought on that one?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Ever since the second wildcard came in, teams are keeping it closer to the vest because more teams are able to compete. Are we going to see any blockbuster moves? Probably not. We may see one or two big names move. I'll tell you right now, you're going to see the Padres continue to fire sale. Yep. Houston Street to the Angels, a great move for the back end of that rotation's bullpen. And, of course, Chase Headley, he makes an amazing debut Tuesday night in the Bronx. Talk about extra inning magic. He came up big, and now the Yankees have a capable everyday third baseman who doesn't shoot up as far as we know, so that's a good thing as well. The big question right now, the $64,000 question, since you have Monty Hall there in the graphics, so we'll go with the game show references a little more. Where will David Price land after the deadline? Will he stay in Tampa Bay? Might he go to a team in second or third place? Maybe a certain team up in the Bronx that has an injured big league pitcher trying to recover? I don't know. It's very possible. That'll be something to find out. And also which second and third place teams are going to make those moves that need to be made. I think the Dodgers make some sort of move, maybe for an infielder. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting.
All right. Now, that's going to lead me, I guess, to our final bit of conversation here.
Okay.
And since we're talking about fire sales and trades and who's moving and who's going and what's happening, I know, I did it for you for tonight. I think you're actually a bigger Phils fan than I am.
Oh, whoa. Hold on. Before you go any further, we're going to talk about the Phillies now. Give me just 1 second. I got to go out of camera for a second. You go ahead and talk. I just got to get ready for this.
Okay, all right. Well, I was saying, listen, I've been a longer time Phils fan, but I mean, even last year, I was prepared for the fact that nothing was going to happen, even last year, and I was even prepared for even less of nothing this season.
Right.
And what do we got there? We've been, does that say?
We've been Rubened.
We've been Rubened.
Yes, we've been Rubened.
Yes, we have.
We've been Ruben. Wait, man, I can smell the markers on this. Good Lord. Anyway.
And now we have a high Jim Williams.
And you took time to make that for us, did you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's available, by the way, at CLW83.com.
You can go out to some of the basketball stadiums and get the big heads. Here, you get boxes that say we've been Rubened.
Actually, it's a ShopRite bag. Let me give them a quick look. There you go. That's enough. All right.
It's a bag.
But go ahead. Talk about the Phillies. Go ahead.
Hey, stop talking about my ex-wives like that, okay?
Oh.
We're going to talk about bags.
Hey now.
You dropped by my office?
Hey now.
All right. I think we have had just about every quote-unquote Phillies marquee player brought up with the possibility of trade rumors that you can possibly imagine. Cole Hamels, Jonathan Papelbon, Cliff Lee, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Marlon Byrd, Antonio Bastardo, and A.J. Burnett. The last three are the ones right now, as of this evening, Jason Stark over at ESPN is saying are the most likely. Marlon Byrd, Bastardo, and A.J. Burnett probably will be the ones actually moving out of here.
Take Bastardo, please.
What's your thinking on all of this? You probably all just heard Brandon. I couldn't agree more, but at the same time, Bastardo, in my opinion, is not what we need to be moving in order to rebuild this team.
Well, yeah, but I'm not a big fan of Tony Bastard, as I call him. So,
go ahead.
Well, Jose Mesa is Jose Joe Table in English, so Antonio Bastardo is Tony Bastard. But seriously, those are the three guys. Jason Stark's absolutely right that are most likely to move. I think Papelbon's a sure thing to leave. I really think he is. Marlon Bird's a maybe. Bastardo's a maybe. But I get what you're getting at. You want to see a big-name player move, do you not, Mike?
I'm saying, hey, listen, if we're going to move Cole Hamels to rebuild this team, you know what? I'm not opposed to it.
I don't think it's going to happen. In fact, I don't think any of the major players, and but I mean major, I mean core players, Hamels, Lee, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard especially, are going to be going anywhere. In fact, we'll talk about the Ryan Howard thing, I'm sure, in just a second. I don't see Ruben Amaro Jr. having the, what am I looking for right here? The cojones, that's it, to pull the trigger and admit defeat. Okay. I don't see it happening.
Well, okay, let's go there for a moment. Because there have been some that have been arguing, and you hear it all over Philadelphia Talk Radio right here in this area, that this guy shouldn't even be allowed to be making the decisions. Should he have been cut and fired a while ago?
Referring to Mr. Ruben Amaro Jr.?
You got it.
He should have been gone a long time ago, if you ask me. But, yeah, he's a company guy, and if you're a company guy, you're in like Flynn, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's what it comes down to.
They're going to allow him to rebuild.
These are your Philadelphia Phillies. You're going to be stuck with this aging bunch of guys and a couple of kids from the minor leagues who wouldn't be minor leaguers anywhere else. For the foreseeable future. This is your Phillies team. Enjoy it or not.
Well, then we're looking at, Jim, let's get realistic.
Yeah.
You and I, as Phils fans, are looking at, seriously, 5 to 7 years, maybe, of this kind of...
At least. I
mean, who gives a damn baseball during the summertime? I mean, seriously.
I mean, really, the only reason Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley are still going to be around is because they're going to still sell some tickets. Not sell out the ballpark, but it's the commodity you can sell after, you know, all this money from a $2.5 billion 25-year television deal and all these new things at the ballpark and what have you. They're the selling points of the team. Ryan Howard, I'm going to tell you honestly, a lot of people are saying maybe he should be platooned out with somebody from the minor leagues. Possible. Okay, I see that as a possibility. Are they going to release him flat out? No, they'd love to, but they can't.
No, who'd love to? That'd be stupid. You can't just cut the guy. We owe $60 million.
Okay, well, yeah, I'd love to see it happen. Well, not. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to see it happen. I've been a fan of Howard's for years, but something has to come, and honestly, I think it's going to be to the point in a year or two, if not sooner, he might retire because his skills have only been diminishing ever since the multiple injuries the last couple of years.
Maybe we can package him up with the Fanatic.
Now, why would you want to do that? Don't make me break out the next pad.
Right now, the Fanatic is probably drawing more people to the park than Ryan Howard. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
And it also doubles as a lovely toupee. So there you go.
What a look. All right, well,
I'm like Gallagher. I got props for days, man.
We're going to ask you to hang around for a couple of moments.
All right, as if this hasn't been screwy enough.
You got it, man. Thank you for the segue. We're going to jump right into our screwy stories for the week.
It's time again for Frat House Mike's Screwball Story.
Who's that voiceover guy?
I don't know. You could have done that one live for us tonight.
I was going to say, he should have done it live.
It's time again for Frat House Mike's Screwball Story.
There we go.
I'm Don Pardo. All right.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
Oh, lovely.
I'm never going to be on again, am I?
No.
Oh, wait, no, because we got football coming up.
Oh, yeah, you guys got to talk some football.
We
got fantasy. We got fantasy
You
coming.
is mines. L-O-B.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our screwy stories for this week. And, well, they're not too terribly dissimilar from the fact that it's just, I mean, they're really replicating the fact it's just been a slow sports news week all the way around. By now, we've all become rather accustomed. And, in fact, I think all of us have become somewhat desensitized to the drunken morons who feel compelled that they have to run out on fields of play. in football games. Well, didn't we even see it in World Cup? I think we saw it a couple of times in World Cup.
I was too busy looking at the attractive women in the stands.
No doubt. Okay. Yeah, I don't blame you
Go
there.
FIFA. Want to be the director of the FIFA coverage? It's the best job in the world.
Is that her name? Oh, no, never mind.
That's Fifi. Get it right.
But a fan the other evening, and I don't know whether you saw this one or not, Jim, a fan the other evening at the Arizona Diamondbacks Chicago Cubs game at Chase Field in Phoenix, by the way, so it was a D-backs fan, actually had a motive, aside from being a complete moron, to enter the field of play. He ran around the infield of the game, taking selfie pictures with D-back infielders. Yeah, he just ran all around and had his camera up, and he's taking selfies as he's flying by them. Spent a good number of minutes running around, eluding as many as 4 to 5 security guards, and continuing to take, cell phone pictures.
Who the hell are you?
I guess that's one way to get some real memorabilia. He was finally tackled to the ground. If you have not seen the video, well, you must. I posted it up over on our Frat House Sports Facebook page. You can find it there.
1 second, real quick.
Quite amusing.
Hold on. Selfie.
Okay.
There we go.
You get it here. Get a three-way.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Let's just get this going here.
We're gonna get a.
There we go.
Get your phone down there.
Ouch! Sorry.
They're gonna.
There we go. There we go. I gotta jump in.
There we go. Selfie.
That'll be up on the Frat House Sports Facebook page. Check that one out later. In fact, it'll be
Mom
up
would be so proud.
Yeah, you'll have that one up shortly.
Hey, Mom's here, actually.
Yeah, we got Mr. Sidekick's mom right here with us.
Sidekick, God bless you.
Mrs. Sidekick's mom came all the way in from St. Louis for a special event that's coming up, and we'll let you tell everybody about that one in a moment, Jim.
Yeah, we'll do.
You're the
We'll do.
voice.
But let's get back to this selfie business.
You're the voice.
Let me quickly. No, not taking selfies or anything. Let me just say this. You know how broadcast entities do everything they can to not show the person on the field when they go on the field?
Correct.
I say show them, and show them especially when they get tased, tackled, or just made to be looking like a fool. What harm is it going to do? Really?
That's a good. I don't know. It might be a good point. Then again, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to cause it to keep going, or people are going to do it because they're drunk and stupid.
Right. Yeah. I kind of agree with Jim. I think yes, don't show them running around the field, getting whatever.
Making the security people look like idiots.
By all means, once they get drugged down and beaten and their face run
you want to say you think they?
Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, show that.
Show them kicking and
absolutely.
Some of the football players go out of their way to take down guys that come.
Exactly.
Well, one of these. I think didn't we see that once?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Why would you go? You've got, how many guys out on the field wearing pads? And you're going to run out there like a dumbass.
Oh, that's just insane.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
That's just insanity.
Thanks, Charles.
Now, we have talked all show long about the fact that it's been a slow sports week and news week. And
no ESPYs to bail you out this time.
No better example than the fact that the top 10 list of the most vegetarian-friendly ballparks in Major League Baseball just got released.
It would be vegan.
Who the hell cares? Yeah, vegans. Stereotypically and not surprisingly, AT&T Park in San Francisco leads the list as number 1.
What are you
Those guys
say?
What am I?
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair.
Okay, but how about this one? I was surprised that Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia is number 2. I didn't even know they served vegetables at CBP.
Oh, they absolutely do. They have veggie versions of the cheesesteak and so on and so forth. I'm glad you have me on because, ladies and gentlemen, when you think of vegan and vegetarian, go ahead and put me on for a quick second. You think of this face, ladies and gentlemen. You think of me, clean, whole food, who's laughing? Who the hell is laughing back there? Anyway. But no, the folks at Citizens Bank Park seriously do a lot of different things to cater not just to those of vegan culture and what have you. I know for a fact they have on certain games sweets available to those who have allergies with peanuts, and they serve nothing that has peanut content or peanut oil or anything like that. So Citizens Bank Park and the Phillies, I'll give them credit in one regard, they do cater to a wide range of food tastes.
So that's because the product on the field isn't drawing people to the park.
That's exactly right.
I was going to say, so across the street we got Lori with the windmills being energy conscious, and over on the other side there'd be, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just to round out, we'll round out the list real quick. PNC Park, Pittsburgh, number 3. Citi Field, New York, number 4. Nationals Park in Washington was number 5.
I always thought they were more fruity.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
The next one might be. Coors Field in Colorado is 6. Safeco Field in Seattle, number 7. That one didn't surprise me. Fenway Park in Boston, number 8. Rogers Center in Toronto, number 9, and Turner Field in Atlanta, number 10. Are French fries, are they counting French fries as vegetables? I'm just,
They should. Potatoes. Come on now.
There you go. Now, talking about fruity. Every team, every sport, well, we know this. They can always tout that there's a few of these fans. Some, they just kind of take it over the top. This particular Washington Nationals fan, well, he didn't just go too far. His display, I think, might be borderline health violation.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Listen, it's most certainly a style faux pas, that's for damn sure. With due respect to this fine fan, that is just downright gross.
I never thought I would meet a guy who is probably going to be single for the rest of his life more than myself. I think we found that guy. This guy is not getting anytime soon, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
Oh, boy. Well, and for those that might be listening to the program over at Herb FM Sports Radio, because they listen over there, we know this.
They do.
They can't see the picture, but it's a fine-looking gentleman who has sculpted a beard into the logo, the sports logo W of the Washington Nationals. If you haven't seen it, it's posted up on our Frat House Sports Facebook page, and that's where you got to go to see it. It's really quite
ugly.
A work of art.
Let's be fair here. We got to be fair. It may not be the Washington Nationals curly W. This could be a guy.
It's Walgreens.
It could be a long-time Walgreens employee, and he just wants to show his love to Walgreens. Very possible.
Product placement, Walgreens, send me my check.
Exactly.
Thank you very much there, Mr. Williams. We appreciate that. Oh, yes. And by the way, we got to thank CLW83.com for sponsoring our baseball segment and bringing us Jim Williams live here this evening.
What a joy. Minor miracle that I got here. By the way, before I get out of here,
what a joy it always is to have you. Go ahead.
Congratulations in advance to 2 members of your crew. Yes. Am I allowed to say their names?
Yes, you may.
Jen and Brandon, they are getting hitched over the weekend. By the time you watch this, they will be Mr. and Mrs.
Yep.
And I wish you sincerely nothing but happiness for the rest of your days. Or at least until football season, because I know he's a Pats fan, she's an Eagles fan. It's not going to work out, folks.
Oh. You see what happens here at the Frat House?
Actually, I think they're more contentious when they play in fantasy football.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah. Well, just like I'm going to kick your backside in fantasy football this year.
There you go. See, and this is the kind of family thing that happens here at the Frat House, which is why you got to become a member. You got to get on our Facebook page, go to the website, check all our YouTube videos out every week.
Absolutely.
And, of course, with us goes CLW83.com and Touch 'em All. And Jim Williams.
Facebook.com/Touch 'em All for updates every day, sure.
And then keep track, because fantasy football's coming up. And you'll be able to see weekly when I drop that big elbow down on Mr. Williams, a la Macho Man off the top rope.
Well, like the Macho Man, you're dead, so it's all good.
I think we have done enough shameless self-promotion for that we possibly can.
Yeah, madness, dig it.
Jim Williams, thank you so much for joining us this evening. What a pleasure. Thank you.
No problem. And remember, we've all
been Ruben.
Yes, we got it. we've been Rubened. All right, well, let's stick with some real sports. Oh, yeah. This week, anyhow, it's real sports. We're going to bring you an abbreviated NASCAR race report this week. As there was no Sprint Cup race this past weekend, but we do have a race this coming Sunday. And our report this evening is brought to you by our friends, as usual, down in Baltimore, Maryland at Herb FM Sports Radio, herbfm.com. Did you check it out last evening? Boy, we're getting marathons left and right. It looks like their summer schedule is Tuesday evenings. We're going to give you double doses, triple doses, quadruple doses of Frat House Sports. 4 hours last night, 8 to midnight, over on herbfm.com. Yeah. And so that's apparently what they're doing. That's all going to change shortly because they've got live broadcasts coming up of college football that they're going to be doing from down there, right there on herbfm.com. Congratulations to those guys down there for that. That's terrific stuff. And of course, we'll help them promote that. Now, if you're not sure what our schedule is over on Herb FM, what you got to do is go over to our Facebook page, Frat House Sports. Give us a like there, and you'll catch it every week. Right now, it's been Tuesday, so I think it's probably going to be that way for the next couple of weeks. But there you go. Coming up on Sunday of this week, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we're moving over to ESPN. Yes? Is that where we're going? I think we're going to ESPN. Yeah. And we're going to be heading for our only trip of the entire season to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for, well, I guess it's still called this. We all still call it this. Of course, they've changed the name so many times with all the different sponsors. But look, let's get it straight. It's the Brickyard 400. Now, we presented this to you last week, but we just wanted to remind you real quick of what the leaderboard looks like. And there you go, going into this race, because again, there was no race last week. So this is really as of 2 weeks ago. And there's our leaderboard with 3 race winners up at the top, and then it's moving down in progression from there based on point totals. With racing in full swing, however, now coming back up this Sunday, that means we got to get into fantasy mode now. Because we only have
fantasy NASCAR.
NASCAR fantasy.
Oh, okay. I was getting
Never mind. I don't know where you're. No, fantasy NASCAR mode.
I got a championship to win.
Here or in football?
Oh, this one's a given.
Oh dear. Oh, okay.
I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. And I don't want to smell you.
7 races remaining until the chase.
Yep.
And we will look at the Frat House Sports Fantasy NASCAR Fantasy leaderboard momentarily, but before we get to that, we need your picks for this week at the Brickyard. There we go.
Zoom. All right, we're going to Brickyard. We're going to Indy. Flat track. Straightaways are all flat. Minimally banked corners, similar to Loudon 2 weeks ago. So this week we're gonna look at see who drivers we want to put on the roster this week. Now, as you mentioned, this is the only time we only come to the Brickyard once a year. So, with that said, we're going to go to the picks.
Okay.
Obviously, we're going to put Jimmy Johnson on our rosters. 2750. He's won 4 of the last 8 Brickyards. We're going to put Mr. Home Track, Tony Stewart. This may be the shot that gets Tony locks him in to the chase this year.
I'm sure he's
at 23-25. He's got 2 wins here and 7 top 5s. Combined between him and Jimmy Johnson, they've combined for 6 of the last 11 races. 6 wins in the last 11 races. By the way, those last 11 races have all been Chevys.
Okay.
Chevy's been dominant here. So if you're looking around, trying to, want to be a little bit different, not go with some of the mainstream picks, some of the picks I have and stuff, and you want to roll dice a little bit, stay with Chevys though, because they're pretty well
anchored. Sounds like
yeah. Jeff Gordon, $28. He's a 4-time winner here. Fell on last time he won here, I believe, was 2004. had a little. It's been a little rocky since then, but he's on a, he's reversing that trend. And then obviously we're going with, our last two, bottom feeders, Michael Annette, 975, and my lucky dog, Landon Castle, 750.
Okay.
Now, as an option here, I'm going to give you an optional guy. Juan Pablo Montoya is racing this weekend. This will be his second race of the season. He's racing for Penske. Last year, he finished 9th when he was racing for Earnhardt Ganassi. He's sitting at 1025 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
value.
Not a
value.
Right. Somebody you might want to look at potentially. Throw it in the mix.
Didn't he almost win one of these like 2-3 years ago? In the 42.
Brickyard?
I mean, yes, he was winning with like 10 laps to go, and he had a tire or something go down.
Yeah.
He led a lot of laps in one of these races not too long ago.
Well, I know Menard won it 2 years ago. I forget who won it last year.
Oh, by the way, you had asked about the question of the title of this race. You ready for this?
The sponsor title.
Yeah. The actual name of this race is Crown Royal presents the John Wayne Walding 400 at the Brickyard. Apparently, Crown Royal runs contests, and random fans get their race named after them from time to time. So that's it.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I don't know. I think it should be the Frat House Sports Show.
Brickyard 400 is what I like.
Just saying.
That's the way we should go with it. All right, real quick, let's take a look at the Frat House Sports NASCAR Fantasy League standings. We didn't actually...
I did it again.
We didn't actually look at this one last week. I said we would hold off until we are actually there again. And yes, what Sidekick is referring to is the fact that, boom, Confetti, he's back up at the top.
Basically, boom.
Establishment.
He's back up at the top ahead of Greg. Greg, what the heck happened? I thought, there's our fantasy team up at the top.
He's gotten a little quiet lately.
Yeah, he has. I mean, I'm looking for him to renew his fantasy football team. Greg, I don't know. You need to pay a little more attention to what's going on around here. There you are. Team Bloodpacker there at 4th.
And then,
Brandon's over at
Brandon's
5.
Coming up there. Right?
I keep going.
The cream's starting to rise.
I keep flying off the board and coming back on the board and flying. I actually had a pretty good race 2 weeks ago and, managed to get back on the board at number 10. So, we'll see how things go this week. All right? All right. There's our shortened race report for this week brought to you by Herb FM Sports Radio, herbfm.com. Be sure you're checking them out. Check them out every day. Go there and see what they're running on a daily basis. But I can tell you we've been running repeated programs and most recent ones. This one will be on Tuesday evenings. That's when you want to be checking them out. All right, there we go. We're going to clean it up, dust it off, and get out of here. But before we do that, let's go take a look at our Frat House Sports Facebook post of the week. I've been mentioning it all night long. How many times have I dropped our Facebook page? Frat House Sports. That's what you got to go be looking for. What are you waiting on? I don't understand. Get over to Frat House Sports and give us a like, because this is the kind of quality entertainment you're going to get right here. This video, hysterical. Yeah, a couple of teams playing indoor soccer. There's been an awful lot of talk here on how we can Americanize soccer to make it more interesting for our fans. These guys might just be onto something. They're dressed in bubbles, blown up air bubbles, and they're running around and bouncing into each other and falling back onto the ground. It's a hysterical video. Very, very good stuff. Well over 500 people thought so.
Who has time?
I think this is soccer. This is the way it should be played, don't you think? Parents would like it. You don't have to worry about concussions.
Sure.
You know what I mean? No problem there, right?
And it kind of aerodynamic though.
Huh?
Doesn't look very aerodynamic for running.
Well, maybe the ball's a little slower. Right? Maybe it's.
And you know what
you pick up for the slowness of the game, you get back in just the sheer enjoyment of watching them fall down.
Yep. And it'll help eliminate flopping.
I demand satisfaction.
You'd have penalties. You'd get yellow flags for purposeful bouncing. He purposely tried to bounce into me. Where are you finding that? Only in one place, Frat House Sports, over on Facebook. That's where you got to go. Get over there and give us a like. All right, the other place you got to go over and check out is FratHouseSports.net. FratHouseSports.net. That's our website. Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yep.
And we're coming to you this way on YouTube. How do you like that? We're all over the place.
And there's no bouncing allowed on the website, though.
No, you could break the website. It would be like, if you jump, it'd be like jumping on the bed. Yeah, right. No, that was kind of like the way we opened the story. I just made that up.
On the fly.
Hey, we're coming back at you in studio in 2 weeks. Next week, what do you got? You got our roundtable show. That one you got to check out. It's going to be wonderful. I promise you, it's going to be great. You want to check it out. In the meantime, one more thing you got to do. You got to keep us real. You got to keep us live. And you got to keep us going. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Adam Wainwright, who, what? I don't know. He's up there, but he's throwing lollipops to Derek Jeter during the freaking.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And then getting Aaron Andrews in trouble.
Yeah. And did you see WEEI about them today?
Today, you gotta love their retraction and his apology.
If that's a retraction, my goodness,
just wonderful. Just what I loved it. It was actually pretty amusing.
Which one was this? Was this up in New
York? Oh, she's not that great. I'll tell you, if she was 15 pounds heavier, she'd be a waitress at Perkins.
Yeah. Is that New York? That's New York, or is it
Boston?
No, it's Boston.
Oh, it's Boston. Okay.
The first time he said she sucked or something.
He called her a bitch, and so drop dead. I mean, I couldn't get over that this was going over the air.